Shadowverse.
Greetings, I'm Shad, and welcome to a Shadowversity special where we are going to be exposing the true quality of Kamikoto knives. They come in these nice packaging. You might have seen them advertised online. They've also been approaching creators, online creators, for sponsorships, and I've seen the sponsorship segment regularly come up in videos that I've been watching. And the marketing language for Kamikoto knives has always caused a little bit of skepticism in me, and I'll point out the specific lines that just don't sound right, which have caused me to do a bit more of a deep dive research into, okay, how good are these knives really? Because they are marketed as high quality Japanese or steel. And look, if you think that's a racist stereotype, if people can get away with saying Australians like, "G'day, mate, welcome to Australia," and like that's equivalent in my mind, I think it's all fair game, okay? They're selling these knives as cream of the crop, premium quality knives. And when I got approached to do a sponsorship for Kamikoto, and not only Kamikoto, another knife making company that did the same tactic of these honestly dishonest marketing tactics, that's where I was like, nah, I've had enough. We're going to be doing a deep dive. So what I'm saying here doesn't just apply to Kamikoto knives. The marketing, lines that they drop that I'm going to be talking about here, these should be massive red flags and warning signs for you to know that, all right, this could very likely be a scam. So not only am I going to be going into some of the research about the actual quality of steel that these knives are made out of, the lies that are actually associated around them, we're also going to put them to the test. We'll be cutting things with them. I'll be doing a cutting test, comparing them to other knives that are actually on the budget range. This is an interesting one, this one here. This is a MasterChef series knife that was given away for free. And so they're kind of trying to market it, hey, this is a really nice knife, you can get it for free. But they were still giving it away for free, so how nice would it be, all right? It was a marketing tactic that the local supermarket, Coles, were doing, and if you bought so many things, you could literally get these knives. The thing is, though, my wife loves these knives, yet it's still a freebie. And so let's compare this one, which is, again, a free knife, to Kamikoto and see how good it is. So we're going to be comparing cutting, and we're also going to be doing a destruction test, a consistent destruction test on these knives. But before we get into that, part of the cutting test that we're able to do is actually the sponsor of this video, HelloFresh, which is most definitely not a scam. I've used it for years. It's a great product, absolutely worthwhile. And so let's actually open up these knives and do some cutting. We'll actually prepare the food with these things and see if there's a noticeable difference in just cutting regular food between these amazing quality, Kamikoto knives, right? And a Kmart knife and this MasterChef one. So we're going to be testing how well these knives work in general use based on the sharpness that they come out of the box. So if we come in closely, you'll see the knives I have here. I've got the Kamikoto ones here, and then I have the freebie giveaway one, and then the Kmart one. But what's this? What's this, you might ask? Well, there's an interesting point that I wanted to prove as part of this, and is that you could put an edge on bad steel and still get adequate performance out of it. And so this is literally, those metal rulers that you feel like you see and buy? That's one of those that I put ground a curve edge on it and then sharpened it up. So to test out the beginning sharpness of each one of these knives, we're going to be cutting the HelloFresh ingredients with different knives to see just how well they perform in general use, and have a look at how well this ruleless steel knife performs to the other ones. So first off, basic sharpness test. This is the Kamikoto knife. So already I cut in pretty darn easily here. So this is, that is sharp. That is, just to test it, we come in close. Let's do a shaving test here. Yeah, that's shaving sharp. That's taken off my hair. This is the MasterChef knife that we got for free in a promotion from Coles. And so in terms of sharpness, okay. Yeah, this is just feeling how well this does. This is equally sharp. All the other ones, very sharp. And in terms of performance then, the steel quality isn't gonna matter much in terms of how well it cuts, okay? You just drag it along here, and this is like super fine cutting. Like, you can like go, look at how finely that slices, okay? That's actually not about steel quality. This is the other disingenuous kind of trick that they do in marketing, okay? People assume like how it performs in like a single cut is a reflection of overall quality. You can sharpen any steel. If I sharpen this crappy steel, ruler steel, if I sharpen that to this level of sharpness, I could get equally as good a cut. But this is blunt, okay? But let's see how well it cuts. That cuts really cleanly. Like, let's do one of those super thin cuts that they do. Like, ooh, look at that. Like, though it takes more time. I do need to do a bit more slicing because it's blunter knife. If people are trying to sell a knife of this sharpness and even this steel, and they're like, look at how well it cuts. It glides through like there's nothing there. It is a perfect, amazing cutting beast. Look at how well it goes. It's a ruler. Don't be fooled by these disingenuous bullcrap knife cutting demonstrations. It doesn't mean the knife is good. It just means that the steel, whatever quality steel it has, was sharp. Could have been as crappy as that. Let's actually compare how well the MasterChef knife cuts through. Look at that. That is, to me, this is cutting through just as easily. Like, yeah. All right, potato test. Kamikoto, I'm just gonna push down cut. Not a slice, we're just going straight down. Got caught on one or two at a time. Nothing really wowed me about it. This is the MasterChef. All right, that was actually much easier to go down. Is it the width of the blade that caused that, or the bevel? But that MasterChef glided into the potato much easier, like noticeably easier. Sideways, like cutting just this length. Going down into this one. That's noticeable. This almost just fell down into it. Like, what? Have a close look at this. I'm just pressing down. Look at that. That is shockingly different, in all honesty. I don't know what's causing that. Like, in test, these seemed equivalently sharp, but in terms of just a push down cut into a potato, really close. I want everyone to pay attention to this. This is the Kamikoto one, okay? Pressing down. Look at the pressure on my finger I'm needing to push into it. It's going red because of the pressure I have to force on that. And now, compare that to the MasterChef. That is shockingly different. I don't know what's causing that, but holy crap, the freebie knife performed twice as good in cutting a potato than the Kamikoto. Shockingly different. Wow. Wow. Just wow. What's doing that? What do you think is doing that? It couldn't be that the Kamikoto knives are starting to lose their edge already. Surely not. Let's just, this better cut just as well as our first test. Yeah. It's hard to tell the difference. I'll try it on this end. It's having trouble biting into the paper. Before it, like that one was easy. No. No. All right. No. Are you telling me? Hang on. All right, there we go. That was a little touch. But hang on. Are you telling me from the little cutting that we have just done that the Kamikoto knife has lost some of its edge retention already? From a zucchini and carrot? I mean, that was one of the issues with 420J steel. Oh, wow! Surely not. Do you, like, there. It's having trouble biting into the paper. What, way more trouble than before. Before it was like a glide. Alright, There we go. That was all right. But see how it didn't even bite the top? It had to bend down before, like, no way. Oh, there we go. Like, it's still sharp, but if this is more the bevel, because this is an even bevel on both sides, holy crap. I prefer double bevel way more than single bevel, because this is... I can't believe how easy that is. The width of the blade wasn't the issue. They're the same width. They're about 2 mil each, okay? So have a look at the width. That's 2 mil width on both blades. The taper is starkly different. It might be that. But if it is that, if it's because these have been getting more dull, holy crap. Global's, I think Global Knives or someone make this, we'll put that thing. Like, they actually make this type of knife, right? And it's still a budget knife, but in terms of what you can get out of what the best quality in the budget range is, okay. Okay, good. I test in terms of general usage for the knives. Stay tuned for extra tests, but now I really do want to tell you about the just awesome features of HelloFresh. I can honestly say from having used HelloFresh for over a year now that I have not been disappointed with a single recipe. I can treat myself with premium picks, a changing collection of top-of-the-line recipes offered each week. And I am not a remarkable cook, but with HelloFresh's step-by-step recipes, it is super easy to follow, and the pre-proportioned ingredients help me cut out the prep time so I can have time to get outside, you know, and enjoy the spring. Indeed, as you can see right now, I'm enjoying the outside while I'm cooking. And they're also really healthy. They have a huge range of fit and wholesome recipes that make it easy to eat without sacrificing flavor. So you can maintain your goals and still feel good about your food choices with HelloFresh. Also, HelloFresh is the first carbon neutral meal kit company and nearly all packaging is recyclable. And you can try it right now if you go to HelloFresh.com and use code SHADOVERSITY16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 surprised gifts. And they're serious about that, up to 16 free meals. This is the way that I first tried HelloFresh. Free food, nothing to lose, and I was blown away, and I've used them ever since, well before they were ever a sponsor on this channel. HelloFresh comes with my very high recommendation. It is delicious. You'll love it. Give it a go. It is brilliant. And thank you to HelloFresh for sponsoring this video. Okay, here we go. Digging in, I shall try the salmon first. That's beautiful. Delicious. Very, very satisfying. Love it.
Thoroughly satisfying.
Thoroughly.
Incredibly. Nathan, how satisfied are you?
It sits well in my stomach.
My stomach is happy.
Cradling this lovely food baby.
Food, baby. When's it due?
9 hours.
So what are some of these dishonest marketing tactics that Kamikoto is employing to try and fool people as to these being high quality premium knives? One of the big warning signs is when they say something steel. So not just what they say, it is made of authentic Japanese steel, like the katana of old. When it's so, not first, but also like if they say it's made of German steel and everything like that. Modern steel, like in the thing, is made to industry standards, and it is given a code like 1050, whatever AI, and it must be made to that industry quality standard. And so you can reliably say, if it has this, market, it's qualified as this grade of steel, it doesn't matter where it comes from. It can come from Japan, it come from Germany, it come from Afghanistan, it come from anywhere, Britain, Australia. If that's the quality, there's an industry standard that they must meet, period, okay? And so where it comes from doesn't actually matter, but they're hanging a lot of their, marketing tactics on this as being authentic Japanese steel. So let's talk a little bit about traditional Japanese steel from the most famous and popular example, the katana. The quality of steel that they use for the katana, Satetsu, is iron ore sand, okay? And iron ore sand can be really pure these days, and so when people, there's like documentaries on the katana saying Satetsu is this really pure form of steel. That's because it's collected in the modern day with modern material. If you collect it with an electromagnet, you can actually collect iron ore sand and not collect a lot of the other sand particles part of it. They didn't have that traditionally. Traditional Satetsu, you just got to dig it out. And that had heaps of impurities in, which is why they needed to fold it after the smelting, which they use in their the Tatara furnace. modern iron ore sands, Tatetsu, going through the Tatara smelting process, will actually have less impurities in it, not because the Tatara is a great furnace, it's a blooming furnace. No, it's because the iron ore going in had less impurities to go with. If you, again, put in stuff that I had historically, poor quality steel will be the result. And that's funny for me, who's researched this, when I hear paying tribute to the centuries-old traditions, as they say, if you actually know the context, like, so the steel was technically crap if it's, you're trying to make it solid off of traditional Japanese steel. When you get a Kamikoto knife, it comes with a certificate of authenticity. And so yes, these are actual Kamikoto knives. And look at what they says. We hereby certify this blade has been handcrafted from high quality steel from Honshu. And so like they're trying to say, because it's from this specific area, that makes it better. Huh? Honshu, Japan, following Kamikoto's uncompromising 19-step process. Now, they very well might have a 19-step process of quality control. You'd expect any company to have quality control processes. So that's like a bare minimum. It's not like we have better quality control than anything else. This should be, no, you should expect this. Paying tribute to the centuries-old tradition of Japanese knife making. And look, sometimes it's great having a traditionally made thing just for the cultural appreciation and history behind it. Doesn't mean it's actually better. Most modern steels, industry made, are far better than historical steels, both in Europe and the ones made in Japan. And so the idea that Kamikoto is trying to piggyback off of the lauded reputation, which is a false reputation. And so there's like, traditions passed down centuries old. Well, one, Kamikoto knives, they're not actually, like, in terms of handcrafted, maybe hand ground on a knife, hand ground on a sanding belt. It might be that type of hand craftsmanship, but this was not hand forged or any measure like that. This is made in the same way as many modern day knives are made, through an industrial process. And because hands are involved in that industrial process at times, it's like, it's handmade as a result. Traditional techniques, what grinding something on a sanding thing? Yes, that's a traditional technique, it goes back a very long time, but they're trying to sell it on this idea that it's ancient techniques where it's actually hand-forged craftsmen. Like, no. And now we come to the steel quality. But anyway, that's the first debunking thing there. If they say German steel, Japanese steel, and they're trying to sell it on that fact, skepticism should be raised already. Then we come to the other marketing tactics. They are marketing these as the most premium quality knives, which is related to the steel quality, because if these are premium quality knives, as they're marketing them to be, then the steel quality should be some of the best you could find on the market. And look at this, okay? These two ones, so this knife here, and these knives here, so I'll show you. They are marked on the website as having a value of $1,900. And then it's got a line through it, and it says discounted to $306. Do you know what that means? The true value of these knives? It's not $1,900. It's not like, technically it should be $306, but according to the actual steel that they're using in these knives, $300 is still overpriced for these knives, considerably so. And they're doing the whole fake marketing tactic to make it feel like you're getting a bargain, you're getting something premium at this incredible price. My father-in-law works in marketing, and he shared me a really interesting example. He's done a lot of these studies, and so this is actually a real thing that happened, where there was this jewelry owner that had this whole bunch of rings that just weren't selling, and he was going on holiday for a month, and he said, look, I can't, just half the price on them and clear them out. He came back after a month, and they're all sold. And it's like, you sold all those rings that I was sticking around for ages. Good, like, I thought halving the price would work, and they said half. Oh, we thought you said the opposite. We doubled the price, and when we doubled the price, they all sold. And it's because people have a perception of quality that's connected to the price, the value that it's saying, this is worth this much. And they're trying to fool you with the same thing with Kamikoto. They're trying to say these knives are worth $1,000 at times. Even like, let's go to a single knife on their website. The big package is, they say it's valued at $7,500 and they're selling for $900. Oh my goodness. But here we go, like a single knife. They're selling this single knife for $320. Bear in mind, and they're saying its actual value is like, what, $700, $900. They're actually not giving you a massive discount. They are ripping you off with pricing something like this at $300. It was surprising how difficult it actually was to find this page, because the main Kamikoto sales page doesn't lead you. So this sales page, okay, there was no easy link to lead me to their about page, and of course everything is wrapped up in the sales language. But if you come down here to steel we use, it says our blades are handcrafted from 420J2 steel, Genton series, or SLD steel for the Ganjo series. For the Genton series, the ones that I have here, this is 420J2 steel. Gives a hardness rating, and the Genton series offers the benefits of a particularly high corrosion-resistant blade. We recommend the Genton series to customers who do not mind tending to and sharpening their blades with a whetstone. This is the other clever marketing tactic that they actually do. Kamikoto, with many of their products, sends this whetstone here. Now, I've been using the whetstone, as you can see, and this thing, it's actually a decent quality whetstone. In fact, the best thing that they sell is this whetstone, in my opinion. But what they also are, there's a subtle implication here that comes with this whetstone, which is these knives will go dull. But by providing this, they're essentially saying they're trying to educate their customers. General knife maintenance. Keep a knife sharp and it'll perform. But guess what? That's the same with anything. You keep any knife sharp and it'll perform. And so one of the qualities of a knife is actually edge retention. And they're kind of implying here that our edge retention might not be so great. So here's a sharpening stone. It's great quality knives, everyone. Just keep a knife well sharpened and it'll last you a lifetime. That's the same with most knives. But we have the steel rating. So I did some internet sleuthing to actually find out what is the reputation of this 420J2 steel. Because to the layman, people hear that and they just think, that must be good steel. They're saying it's good, and so therefore must be great, and the layperson is not going to do any extra research to find out. It's interesting. They actually don't mark the steel quality on this. They just say Japanese Honshu, and then they have Japanese characters steel. So they're not even telling you the quality of the steel on the knife in English. It's like, what are they trying to hide from you people? Okay, because even with the knife, like there's nothing here that actually came with a knife that tells me the steel grade. That's dodgy, and it's something you would expect from maybe a Kmart knife, because shock horror, the Kmart knife doesn't tell me the steel anywhere. I tried to find out what steel quality this was, and I couldn't. I went online, I went to the manufacturer, I went through nothing online could tell me. I don't know what this steel is. And I'm really interested to know if it's the same steel. Why? How could it be the same steel as the Kamikoto premium $300 knife, a $10 knife from Kmart? How could that possibly be? Because 420J2 steel is one of the cheapest grades of stainless steels for kitchen knives. I'm not kidding. So at knifeuser.com, they do a review of not the Kamikoto knives, but of the steel, 420J2 steel. If you're looking for some very low price knives, you probably saw some 420J2 steel. It's like the article of this already assumes that you've come across this type of steel and you're looking for low priced knives, and we came across it when we were looking at Kamikoto high priced premium quality. They're marketing them as premium quality knives, and you wonder what makes the steel so cheap. The steel is cheap, and is it good, or should I add $5 more and get a 420 HC or 440 A steel? So they're already so these other steels are already better. Well, I was in the same situation. I wanted to know more about it. Therefore, I decided to make a 420 J2 steel review. Links in the description for these references, by the way. 420J2 is a low-end, can be the lowest stainless steel high in chromium. It's very known for its high corrosion resistance. That's where I think Kamikoto is trying to sell it. So the main selling factor of 420J2 is its high corrosion resistance. So what that means is very hard to rust. These things, and people, I think the lay people who don't know much about knives assume how well something lasts to quality, not necessarily edge retention. I think everyone can assume that knives will eventually go dull, and how easily it goes dull. If the regular person doesn't have a true comparison and they're not paying attention, and if these Kamikoto knives are going dull quicker than other knives, they probably wouldn't notice. But they do notice pitting and little rust marks and everything. And if these knives are resistant to pitting, rust and everything over other knives, that's far more noticeable. And that would then give them an assumption that these are, oh, they told me it was high quality and these things just never rust, so therefore they're the best quality knife ever. And again, I think that's why they might have picked this grade of steel and then try and sell. And remember, we're talking, this again, it's an industry steel, 420J2. It's well known, but Kamikoto's like, we're using high quality, traditional, this is Japanese steel. It is made in Japan, it is Japanese steel. That doesn't mean it's good. In actual fact, it can be utter crap. And as we're finding out here, it is one of the cheaper industry stainless steels used. In actual fact, some even consider it the lowest end stainless steel, okay, in high chromium. Used in budget knives, diving knives, surgical instruments, daggers, swords, and scissors. You know why surgical instruments use this type? Again, the corrosion resistant. They don't want them to rust, okay? It's not actually because it's great. Because you can sharpen many types of steel and they will get the same quality and or similar results or usable results. To demonstrate this, remember this ruler knife? Literally, that's from one of these, a ruler, and it is like, now I know that this type of steel is actually soft from sharpening it because it was pretty easy to sharpen, but as we saw in the HelloFresh sponsorship, how well does it cut? You put an edge on it, many types of steels, you can sharpen it up, and it performs. So people, they often don't know what real good steel is. If they see, oh, it's sharp, it cuts, it must be great. It's like, put it on crappy steel and it works. So 420J2 isn't the best in edge retention. Oh, really? Not the best in edge retention. I wonder if Kamikoto kind of knows this and they're trying to hedge their bets by saying, just keep it sharp. Like, it's crap with edge retention, but it's really good quality. Just keep it sharpened and it's a premium. It's like, and remember, everyone has to sharpen their knives, but as to how often they have to sharpen, they don't mention that because a better quality knife might not have to be sharpened so much to the point where they're literally sending you a sharpening stone so what you can keep these knives just usable. Low to zero carbon in it, which makes it not so hard, and low edge. Holy crap, there's barely any carbon in it? That means you could barely call it steel. I didn't realize that. My goodness. Good corrosion resistance, more than 40% of chromium, which will offer great corrosion resistance. Wear resistance, not so great to wear resistance. It has a decent wear resistance, what they're saying, for a low-end steel. 420J2 is close to Chinese steel 3CR13. 3CR13. Where have I heard 3CR13 before? I can't put my finger on it. Where on earth could I heard? Oh. X30CR13. That steel rating in this MasterChef freebie knife is actually one of the grades of 3CR13. And they're saying the steel in this knife that was given away for free is equivalent to the high-grade Kamikoto traditional knife that they're selling for $300. And this one was for free. So in regards to the 3CR13 grades of steel, they're quite similar in their chemical composition. They both offer great toughness and corrosion resistance, but they're low in hardness and wear resistance, and they fall in the same price range. Oh wow. Oh wow. Not so great for knives, but it's very cheap. You get what you pay for. What if you paid $300 for it? One of the must-have in a knife is edge retention. For me, edge retention is a game changer in all types of knives, survival, hunting, kitchen, fishing. Unfortunately, the 420J2 offers a weak one, but on the other hand, it's very tough and has great corrosion resistance. So if you're bothered with sharpening a knife, and you're in a limited budget, 420J2 would be a great choice. So this is the thing, 420J2 is perfectly serviceable steel. This knife that my wife has, which is said to be equivalent, she actually really likes it. She finds it performs better than a lot of the Kmart crap you buy in like a sharpening block. So let's find out a little bit about C3R13. This one is from Cherokee Observer. Okay, so 3CR13 steel review. When looking for a knife at a budget-friendly price tag, the chances are high you get 3CR13 steel knives in your list. These Chinese 3C13 steel is one of the affordable steels around and finds use in making various blades like forward, pocket knives, kitchen knives, hunting knives, camping. But, will a 3CR13 stainless steel knife hold up for a long time without breaking or chipping? How hard is it to sharpen? And so, general, information that you want to know about this quality of steel, which is considered is it an equivalent? We'll actually find out. 3CR13, also known as 30CR13, which is, remember, that's exactly what's on this knife here. X30CR13, okay? That's this. Is a martensitic stainless steel produced in China. It is true that 3CR13 steel doesn't come with excellent edge holding capabilities like the premium steels, but its edge retention isn't the worst. It holds a cutting edge fairly well for its price, but will need regular sharpening. 3CR13 edge retention is better compared to other knives in its price range. Interesting. What's this? 3CR13 versus 420J2 steel? He actually compares these types of steels? What does he say? These two steels are stainless and offer good corrosion resistance. This means they will make a suitable knife for use in marine environments, wet conditions. However, 420 steel is quite soft due to low carbon content and does not hold its edge for long compared to 3CR13. 420 steel is best suited for making decorative knives and swords. For everyday use, 3CR13 is better option of the two. So the free knife, the freebie knife we got in a promotion from Kohl's is made out of better steel than the Kamikoto one. Holy crap! Premium quality knife. They're saying this thing is worth like $700 to $900, but they were so altruistic to reduce it to a whopping $300. Aren't they so nice and fair? Discounted to $300, and you're still freaking getting ripped off. This is the reality when it comes to marketing and sales and everything. If they're discounting something, it means they can afford to do it. They need a price margin. So when you see something reduced from a ridiculous price, no, the actual price they're selling for it, unless there are true reasons justifying it, vastly more often, that's the actual price, and they're still getting a good chunky profit to maintain business as it. And with the amount of marketing Kamikoto is selling, they must be raking it in because they have been splurging money on sales. And so, these knives, the Kamikoto knives, they probably cost them like $2 to make, I'm thinking. Look, generous, we could say upwards. If they're really splitting a lot of money, maybe $15, $20. That's the actual, more realistic value, likely for many of the Kamikoto knives. And they're selling them for $300. Just for one knife. But we've tested the knives out in regular chopping, cooking and things. We're going to do some destruction testing to really test the Kamikoto knives and also the MasterChef knife. Let's go out and have a bit of fun. All right, so now we're going to be doing an edge retention test. We saw some interesting and somewhat troubling implications about the Kamikoto knife, and all we have done is cut zucchini, carrot and potato. And it seemed like the Kamikoto knives were starting to lose some of their sharpness. So what I'm going to be doing here, we're going to test what level of sharpness they are at now against paper. The MasterChef freebie. So much less trouble biting in, but once it bites in, that's where it's at. I'll test this one first going in. So it has a little bit of trouble starting off that slice, but once it starts, it is nice and sharp. This is a metal end to an old bed that was in the trash. So metal, let's see if this has any effect. If the edge gets ruined on them all, that's not going to tell us much then. They're all have poor edge retention when you do this. Well, when I poor, maybe like even great knives would be able to handle it. But anyway, we'll see. So this is the MasterChef knife. So going in like that. Let's see. Did not like it either. It does not want to cut now. Yeah, did not like that at all. Will the Kamikoto knife fare any better? Right now it is at nice sharpness. It has not fared any better. Nah, this is lost its edge completely. Same with every other knife. So, don't scrape knives against metal. I do want to test how well they sharpen up though. They're on about equivalent sharpness now. Let's see how quickly we could get an edge back on them. Hey, we might have an edge back on this one. There we go, look at that. We are back to somewhat paper slicing sharpness. Okay, that's not bad. That's decent. That's the MasterChef series. So back on a Kamikoto one. Where are we at with Kamikoto? No, that does not want to slice, so we are still pretty darn blunt. I'm pushing pretty hard. This is not wanting to slice still. Have I been going as long on this as I have the other one?
I think about the same now.
About the same now.
The last one you were at least cutting through the paper.
Yeah, like at this point, it seems like. Are we there yet? Oh, there we go. We got some slicing. Let's see. I think we're back. The performance was pretty equal, don't you think, between this one and the... Let's go. So, yep, that's the Kamikoto MasterChef series. Yep, okay. Instead of pressing hard and scraping the knife right down on the metal, and it only took once to do that to lose the edge on this, I am going to just let the weight of the knife, I'm going to basically hold it like that, let the weight of the knife push down and just run it across like that and see if this does anything at all, okay? This one, like so. Slice, 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 slice. So, no discernible difference. Kamikoto. No discernible difference. So now to press a little bit harder. And so this one, again, just like that, pressing down with the weight of my arm, just letting it rest. So I did something, I reckon, cutting in on the side like this, so. Well, that's pretty clean, actually. Maybe not. That's, whew, okay. Kamikoto, resting, weight of my arm, just going down like that. See us. Okay, I did that. This time, I think there is actually a noticeable difference. If I'm trying to... And I have not seen much of a performance drop in this. A couple of things we can say definitively. On the heavy stroke on the metal, they all lost their edge instantly, but the MasterChef one was way easier to resharpen, and it not only did it take quick sharpen, it got much sharper for the time we put into it than these ones. Why is that? It's hard to say. One could, this could just be much easier steel to sharpen than the Kamikoto. It could be that it didn't get as blunt as the other ones in the test. They got very blunt, but if there was still more of an edge left on this, that would have made it easier to resharpen than this one. So there is indication of a bit of a difference there just with the resharpening test, because I sharpened this one for longer and I couldn't get it return nearly as sharp as this. It's hard to say definitively. At best, I reckon they lost their edge at equivalent rate, because remember, this one started sharper than this one. So even though this is still performing better than the Kamikoto, so MasterChef performing better than the Kamikoto, it started sharper than the Kamikoto from the resharpening. And so if I try and gauge how much sharpness this one lost from where it started compared to how much sharpness the Kamikoto lost from where it started, they seem to have lose about the same percentage in their effectiveness or sharpness, which makes them pretty equivalent. Now, remember though, this is supposed to be a premium high quality steel knife, and this was a freebie with basically the second cheapest knife metal you can use. So that's where we're at the moment. Now we're going to go jump to the destruction testing and see if we can get even bigger results from impacts. So we have the sword guillotine out for this test. Even though there are some kinks to work out to make this hit as hard as a regular person, this is actually already perfect for what we're doing here, because whatever weight that we get this hitting at, if we make sure it's the same weight, it's going to strike with the, if not exact, very close to the same power each time. There are small little things that will create variability, but it's going to give us much more consistent results than if I was to just hit it with my hands. And so this is, and I guess we are literally going to be destruction testing this, putting in the knives here and smacking it down with this sword. This is like one of the Ebook tactical swords. I have not cut anything with this one yet. My other Ebook tactical I have, but this one still has its factory edge. And so it's going to be interesting to see what damage this receives, but also the damage the knives receive, to see which actually is the strongest steel. And this will get pulled back to the exact same position each time, be pulled down with the same force, and we're going to get two very clean results, because I'll flip the edge for the second one, and even if not, just adjusting it down a little, we'll get very similar results. But for the two main ones, which is the Master Chef knife and the Kamikoto knives, I'm going to do it with a clean edge on this side and then flip it and do the clean edge on the other side. Don't try this at home, kids. That is going to come down, yep, right near the middle. And so how we have rigged this to work is this comes in, clamps the knife in just like so. That's not going anywhere, and that is going to be coming down right on top of the blade. So without further ado, again, don't try this at home. Let's test this out. I'm removing the main safety block. This is to stop it from going too far down, lifting it to the max height that the rope will currently allow. 3, 2, 1. Oh boy, have a look at that. That took out a good chunk. Wow. Alrighty. There's like, look at this, there's barely a nick in this one. Carbon steel. It's carbon spring steel, actually, I believe this is. Yeah, it is. Does the job. But, oh boy, I can't wait to see what happens next. So this bucket lost its thing. Don't worry, got a backup. The stones are up at the same level. And so it's an identical bucket. Okay. Back in business. Let me reset the sword. Just gonna flip it to the other side. So, undamaged edge, Kamikoto knife inserted. We are locking this in. So, oh, I did realize something. Gee, I don't know which one has a robust edge, okay? Depending on how thick this edge is, right? Will actually depend on, no, it's not only steel, it is the edge geometry that will determine how robust it is. But we'll find out. We will find out. This is about as accurate as we can go. With the exact same strike. Sword cutting guillotine versus Kamikoto knife. I am removing the stopping block, raising it up as high as the rope will allow. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Ooh, interesting, interesting. It's kind of jammed. Let's try and get this out now. First of all, that's the Kamikoto impact on this one, and that's the MasterChef impact. I can't tell the difference. But now let's compare knife damage. All right, so this one has a chip on it right there. But, all right, there is actually more damage on the MasterChef one versus this one. Yet overall, the difference isn't that great. But, oh, actually, no, this one almost looks twice as deep, so maybe. What do you guys think, hey? Let us know in the comments below. It's hard to get like, unless one had a massive difference where one snapped versus the other, it is hard to try and get some statistical significance from the difference in these results, because the difference very much, or actually, if I look at the, if you come in here, see this edge geometry on the back here, see the edge geometry of the MasterChef, the Kamikoto blade is thicker towards the edge than this one. And so, to me, that actually is a better explanation of the difference in results. In terms of overall strength, this is like the way they chipped, the way they held up further down, it's very equivalent. It's very close. And I think if I was to give my non-educated opinion on it, I think the main difference what we're seeing here is actually due to edge geometry, not steel quality. Overall, I think the steel quality between these two are very equivalent. That's what we've really found. Like, look, consider the edge retention tests. This one was easier to sharpen, but in terms of the rate in which they lost their edge with the tests, pretty much the same. Overall strength on impact, the difference seems to be edge geometry, are like very equivalent in terms of strength. Ooh, what if we do one against the other? One against the other. Let's see what happens then. The Kamikoto will win because it's got a thicker edge right here than the MasterChef. Could this be why the MasterChef slids into the potato so much? Because it had a thinner edge? That could also be it. So the edge geometry actually plays into the quality of the knife, because that will determine robustness, but also performance. Okay, if the MasterChef knife actually has a thinner blade up at the top here, that'll make it cut better. And I like the handle better, and I don't like the handle here. So just based on edge geometry, I would go to a design like this. I don't actually like the Kamikoto design. But in terms of, again, steel strength, according to what the information I looked up, this is only slightly better than this, and they're both considered low-grade steels. Like, when I say low-grade, they are actually perfectly serviceable for steel and knives, okay? But they're considered the cheaper end of steel for knives. And so these are both the cheap end of stainless knife steel, and they're performing pretty equivalently. But look, for fun, even though I think the Kamikoto one definitely should perform better because it already has, and I'm attributing that, in my opinion, to how much thicker the edge is. Because of that, I do think the Kamikoto one will perform better, but it's for fun as well. We're just going to do it for fun. Sold as a premium, best quality knife you can get. Freebie. Okay, and so far it's been performing just as well. all right. This thing held up fine. Good, it's got a much more robust edge, but it's also, high carbon, they call it battle ready steel, and so, yeah, you would expect it to perform better. Alrighty, raising it up. 3, 2, 1. They both cut into each other. Gosh, come on. It doesn't want to come off. This is... Well, it's pretty close, actually. They cut into each other at about the same depth. Is that focusing?
Yeah.
It's about a mil and a half. Interesting. This one had to be bent out a little bit more because this one has a thicker blade, as you can see. It's less pronounced on this side as it is on this side, but this one looks to be the slightest bit deeper, which we kind of predicted because this has a more robust edge. But man, if one steel was like this is the truth, right? If one steel was just better, stronger than the other, one would have bitten in, cut into the other deeper, but because this is so close, this really shows an equivalent in like steel strength, which confirms the stuff that we saw at the beginning, like we saw in the articles, is that this supposed Japanese steel, which is what, 420 something, is very equivalent to this one. And this is a freebie knife. So in like, now we're in summary, conclusion of this big old review, expose, whatever you want to think of it as, Kamikoto knives, all right? I don't want people to get the wrong idea. This is a very serviceable knife. There are many knives that you can buy that will do the job. This was a serviceable, effective knife. And this is the thing. That's where honestly, my opinion, that's the kind of quality range that this has been falling into in its performance. It has been matched pretty strongly by this this freebie. This is given away in a thing, and it's made out of considered cheap steel. And so if Kamikoto are just selling their knives as decent budget knives, you could probably say it's good quality. The scam part comes in that they are trying to flog these off as premium quality. They were trying to say one of their knives were like between valued at 700, 900, and then they're still selling them for $300 bloody dollars. $300, right? To me, that's a ripoff, and that is very dodgy. And I think that's where the scam part comes into this, because they are trying to sell an inferior product as a premium product. And from the steel quality to the disingenuous marketing tactics, it is Japanese steel, the steel is cheap. It is cheap knife steel. What they say with the quality control, the traditional methods, and all those things, okay? That is all bullcrap. This is a budget knife, still serviceable. For a basic person like me, my wife, we're not world-class chefs, we're not professionals, we just cook stuff. Yeah, like, and a simple knife like this, my wife actually really likes these ones. She probably would even like the Kamikoto one. Get in and stay in. But these are not premium knives, okay? That's where the scam is. Let us know what you think in the comments below. We appreciate you for watching. Thank you for joining with us. And of course, I hope to see you on the next video here on Shadiversity. So until that time, farewell.